Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing another Walking Dead video for today for issue 185 of the Walking Dead comic book series. This will be our video review for this month's issue of the Walking Dead. This issue is called On Guard. And spoiler warning, if you guys have not read this issue yet for the Walking Dead comic book series, issue 185 On Guard. So this issue, man, I really like this issue. This was a really fun issue for the Walking Dead. Basically, concentration, no zombies. I don't think there's a single zombie in the entire issue. This is one of the only, this is like one of the only issues I can think of that doesn't feature a single zombie in the Walking Dead, especially when you consider like the first 100 issues of The Walking Dead. It's like every issue has at least one or two zombies. This one, like, basically none. So we see, a couple different things happening here. Namely, I want to say three different, groups of notice here. So first we have Carl on the cover, who's it's kind of fun, and not much to say with him really. It's just kind of some fun scenes, and what a lot of us thought that we probably would see with Sophia. So of course Carl is with Lydia, who was one of the Whisperers before, and now the Whisperers have basically been exterminated, or taken out for the most part. But Lydia's still alive. She's still with Carl, and they're getting busy quite a bit. And Sophia comes across in this one as she might be kind of listening in or kind of spying on them, and they're like having sex all the time. And Sophia's, she's got needs, right? Sophia's got needs, and her needs are not being met, and there's nobody there that she's interested in, and there's not many females of that age that are still alive at the hilltop, or probably in the joint communities as a whole. And so she's getting a little antsy, and she's getting a little bit tired of Carl having all the fun. So this is a fun one, man. It's kind of an awkward part where they're kind of walking down the hall and that kind of thing, and she's basically saying, "There's no one here for me to have sex with." So we'll see what happens with that in the future between Sophia and this kind of love triangle that Carl sort of has himself in. Not that he asked for it, and not that he's been making any advances, I think, towards Sophia. I'm sure he views their relationship as purely a friendship, but of course, from what we can see, it doesn't look like Sophia is kind of feeling the same way. Either that, or at least that's the way I read it, having those kind of conversations, because if you have lady friends, guys, it's not that often they talk about sex with you. It's kind of something where it's like, I mean, sometimes it depends how they are, but it's to be expected, right? So we'll see. Let's see what happens between Lydia and Sophia if they don't, rip each other's heads off or kill each other first. So that stuff at the Hilltop was fun. We also had one with Magna here and Yumiko. That's a pretty decent conversation about war and about peace, which I do actually like. And Magna says that she would rather fight in another war than live on the road for, it's just awful living on the road with all the walkers everywhere and not having a community, everything like that. So she doesn't want to go back to that. But they kind of view peacetime as sort of like a break or an interruption until the next war, which I thought was really smart, and it's very true. You could look at peace kind of that way. We'll see if the modern world is any different from that, and by the time a lot of us get older, maybe that's a thing of the past with people becoming more intelligent, more educated. I don't know, but we'll see. Yeah, so I like that as well too. All the stuff with Magna and Yumiko was good, just a little bit there. But the best stuff for sure of the issue has to be the stuff with Dwight. So basically, we've seen this kind of starting to fester, starting to build up. Of course, Dwight in the comic book series version, having been under Negan before, he's quite the badass by himself. One of Negan's top lieutenants, or top, toughest fighters and that kind of thing. And he wants to take it. So he wants to take the Commonwealth by force. He doesn't want to play this game. He doesn't want to be allies with them. He wants to take over. He sees an opportunity. He sees that the people of the Commonwealth are not happy with the current leadership led by Pamela and the others as well too, Lance and some of the others that they have there. So basically Dwight is like, let's do this, let's take over, right? And then of course you have Rick, who's like, for fuck's sake, Dwight, no, we're not doing this. Have you learned nothing? Because Rick knows the cost of something like that would be, it's going to be blood, and it's going to be lives, and it's going to be right? It's gonna be war, right? If you go to take it, and it might, based on the situation, based on what we're seeing in this issue, it actually might be easier than it would sound like at first. Because at first you think the Commonwealth, 50,000 survivors there, tons of people, more arms and military than any other community that they've ever faced. Probably more fighters, more warriors than they've ever faced before if this was to happen. But this would put Rick and the others on the offensive, which is something to dethrone the current leadership. And that's just something that we wouldn't... we've never really seen them do. Like, we've never seen... I mean, you could argue that the Negan situation has some similarities with the Saviors and that, by protecting them and keep like that kind of deal. But Pamela's not killing anybody so far as we know, and she's trying to keep the order, she's trying to keep the peace, but it's a little bit like a police state, as Dwight says it. And so it puts us in a fun situation here. Will Rick decide to go along with what Dwight wants and take the place? Will Dwight decide to go out on his own and try to take the place? Will they be able to? Will it backfire? If they do some kind of coup and try to take the head, if they try to take Pamela and take because they're kind of on the inside already. And now at the end of the issue, basically we have another conversation. So Dwight kind of freaks out on the street, which is a fun scene. I like it. And he's basically kind of getting into it with some of the soldiers and riling up the people and seeing how the people respond to it as sort of a test, which I thought was really smart, really brilliant. And then afterwards, because I took it as legitimate at first too, right? I didn't think he was just testing it to see, but he was. And so he gets kind of he surrenders, he gets arrested, he gets thrown in a jail cell or whatever. And you have Rick, who comes to see him and basically ream his ass out because he already told him not to do this, and that whole thing. And then Dwight kind of reveals to him that it was a test, that he wanted to see if the people were ready, and he wanted to see how the people were feeling. And what he actually might have revealed is that the Commonwealth really is on on a knife edge, where it's just waiting for the people to rebel, right? It's just like it's basically the type of government system that's so that's so terrible or so unfair. The inequality is so unfair, it's at extremes, to where the whole system is ready to topple over, which is a natural, I guess you could say, situational or game theory type of thing that does actually occur in the real world too, is that when inequality gets too high, it becomes unstable. And that's when you can see this, like the disappearance of the middle class, right? Eventually, when that gets too great, then things can just totally spin out of control, right? And dethrone governments and things like that. So it's an interesting thing that Dwight did. It's pretty smart, to be honest. Dwight, maybe sometimes we don't give enough credit for how smart he is, because a lot of the comic book series, he's under Negan, so he doesn't get credit for a lot, and he comes across kind of as just a miserable prick sometimes. But this was pretty smart of him to do that, to kind of reveal that with his test, and it was smart. And then afterwards, Mercer overhears Rick telling Dwight, absolutely not, no, we're not doing this, this is not happening. And Mercer does a nice kind of opposite, opposite Easter egg, I want to call it, where, in the Walking Dead television series, people always get pissed off when I talk about the TV series when I'm doing comic reviews. So sorry, guys, but I can't help it. It's an important part of what the Walking Dead is. There's a scene with Abraham, right? Or the new world's going to need Rick Grimes, right? And I really got vibes from that one here when Mercer says to him, "You're the leader the Commonwealth needs. Rick Grimes, you're the leader." So it's like the new world's going to need Rick Grimes. The Commonwealth now needs Rick Grimes. He's the leader that the Commonwealth needs. So I thought that was pretty brilliant. I enjoyed that one a lot, with Mercer kind of paralleling, I think, Abraham in some ways, and which was really cool. So we'll see what Rick decides to do now. He's in a very peculiar place. He's in a spot he's never been in before. He basically has met this group. Their leadership is very nice to him. They're inviting, they're welcoming, they're open, but they do look fragile. Pamela is not the type of leader like Negan is, where she's going to bash people's heads in and she has command in that kind of way. She doesn't seem to. They kind of come across as bumbling idiots sometimes with some of the things they do. And now you have Mercer, who's basically the head of the military, I want to say, or the person who's the most feared fighter they have, and he's saying, let's do this, right? So Dwight saying, let's do this. Mercer saying, let's do this. The people of the Commonwealth are saying this needs to happen, and Rick is not willing to go for this right now. So very interesting situation. A lot of drama, really good stuff. Really enjoyed it to see in this issue. And what is Rick going to do? Because everything is just lining up to where this makes sense for him to go for this. And he doesn't want to. He's just not interested in it at all. So, man, you know, like, do you guys think he's going to go for it? I almost think Dwight, if Rick says no, Dwight is going to probably do it himself. Dwight's probably going to take the Saviors, go there, link up with Mercer, and they're probably going to try to do this, which could be this could be crazy, right? Absolutely crazy. So, in terms of the score for this issue, I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10. I love the issue. Thought it was great. No zombies. There was also, not to forget, Eugene and Stephanie basically are getting together, and they're saying that Eugene thinks he can really do this. He can repair the transport system. That'd be really cool, right? To do that. Starting over society, that whole bit, trade between the two. You know, high speed trade via train would be really useful. So good stuff there as well too. I love the issue. On Guard, really fun, really cool. Good for Carl. Good for the love triangle that we've seen setting up for a while. See how that whole thing goes. And then also the big question of what Rick is going to do, because he doesn't want to do this, and yet at the same time it's like, you know, how can he not when everybody else wants it except for him, right? So, or at least two very important people want it. Leader of the Saviors and the leader of the military of the Commonwealth, or at least one of their top people, so far as we know. So that'll be it for this review, guys. I love the issue. It was a lot of fun for sure. And leave your comments below if you got a chance to read it. Let me know what you think. You know, and if you like the video, please thumb it up below. Please like it, share, favorite, subscribe, bottom left, all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys again soon for another video. As always, this is Trev. I'm saying peace later, guys. See you soon.